Okay. Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Christina and welcome back to my channel. So I'm sure all of you know by now, but last weekend I finally got the chance to see and meet Why Don't We? So I did vlog my whole day, so if you want to see that, I'll link it down below. I definitely recommend watching that video before this one. It'll just make everything make a lot more sense. So for today's video, I'm just going to be going over everything that went on that day. Some of the stuff didn't fit into the vlog, and I'm also just going to be explaining some stuff that even was in the vlog, like what I exactly said to the boys, because it's kind of hard to hear that in the video and stuff. But yeah, let's get on with the video. So I first wanted to start off with talking about how long I've waited for them to come to St. Louis, okay? I literally have tweets of me back in 2017 and 2018 begging them to come to St. Louis. I was like, if you guys come to St. Louis, I'll buy you pizza. Like, I responded to a tweet. I was like, why are you guys doing 3 nights in Chicago and not a night in St. Louis? I even commented on one of Jonah's live streams telling him to come to St. Louis, and he read it and responded saying that he would come here. And also, when they announced the 8-letter spring tour, I tweeted that, I swear to God, when Why Don't We comes to St. Louis, I'll be there front row. And guess who ended up getting front row tickets? This girl. So moving on to the day of the show, we get there and we do have to wait outside for about an hour, but it really was not that hot. It was pretty cloudy even, and we were in the shade. But once we finally got let inside, we got like these VIP wristbands. They cut mine like right in the middle of the word VIP. It just says, why don't we 8 letters, 1 pack, VIP, because that's the package that I had. So then once we got inside, we stood in line for a little bit, but then the line started to move, and I didn't know like when we were going to meet them, but I was figuring it was going to be like around the corner or like down a hallway or something, because I also did meet Shawn Mendes at the Fox Theater, which is like the venue it was at. So I was thinking it was going to be like in the same room I met Shawn. So we go to like where the seats are, but then we take a right and we start going down like a staircase into this basement, and I was like, oh, we'll go down the stairs and there's probably just a room there. But we kept going down staircases and through rooms, and there was like this one room where it had all the old like film stuff and projectors, and there was just like posters everywhere, and it was honestly really cool to be like downstairs of like the Fox Theater in St. Louis. That was kind of cool. But we're waiting there, like I'm freaking out. I don't know what I'm going to say. I'm like trying to figure it out. And then John comes out and he was like, okay, you guys are going to be going in on Jack Avery's side. And I was like, great, everything I had planned was going in on Daniel's side. So now I just have to like reverse everything I was planning on saying. But eventually we get into the room where we're actually meeting Why Don't We? And there's probably like a row of like 10 to 15 people in front of me, but I could still see like the backdrop that said 8 letters tour. I could see Jack. I saw Daniel for like a second, but I could really see Jack because he would like come over and like hug the people because he was first. So I actually met up with my friend Michaela at this show, and her dad ended up filming my meet and greet experience. So big shout out to them, like thank you so much. But Michaela went first, and after she hugged Jack, Jack turned around and came up to me and he gave me a high five, and I said hi, and he was like hi. And like that really scared me because I wasn't prepared to like meet him yet. I thought I had like a few more seconds. Eventually they took their picture and they said next, and it was my time to freaking meet Why Don't We? So I go up to Jack, I give him a hug, and I say hi, I'm Christina, and he says nice to meet you, Christina. And then Zach, literally Zach and I had like the best moment. Like he was definitely the best interaction I had at the meet and greet. He goes, Christina, hi, how you doing, Christina? And I don't even answer him. I just say, thank you guys so much for coming to St. Louis. It's my first time seeing you guys. And he was like, oh, really? And then I went to Jonah, and Jonah was like, oh, are you from St. Louis? And I said, yeah, and he said, it's so nice to finally meet you. I'm like, it's nice to finally meet me. It's nice to finally meet you guys. I've been waiting for years. So then it was time for the picture, and I really wanted like a group hug, like squishy, like Why Don't We sandwich kind of picture, but I didn't know how to set it up. So I was pretty much just gonna wing it. I just told them to do a group hug pose. So I turned and I hugged Jonah, and I had like my hand on his arm, and then Corbin like hugged me from behind and his hand was on my hand. And then Zach had originally had his arm around Jack, but then at the last second he moved it and put his hand on top of my hand. So it was like Jonah's arm, my hand, Corbin's hand, Zach's hand. I absolutely love the picture. It turned out completely perfect, exactly what I was wanting, so I love it. So then after the picture, I just said thank you guys. And then Jonah grabbed my arm, he just looks down at me, he's like, I love you. And then I looked back up at him and I was like, I love you too. And then I turned around to Corbin. I think I said like, hi, how are you? I can barely hear it in the video. I think I said, hi, how are you? And he was like, I'm good. And I said like, thank you guys so much for coming to St. Louis. It's my first time seeing you. And he was like, oh, really? Like, have a great time tonight. And then I do not know at all what I said to Daniel, and I cannot tell what he says to me, cannot hear it in the video. I also had my phone in my pocket recording, can't hear it in anything because the music is too loud. So if any of you want to watch the video and try to analyze what I say to Daniel, please let me know because I have no clue.
Alright, here we go, ready? Next round, 3. 1. 1, 2, 3. Next up.
It may not have even been English. I don't really know how I kept my cool in front of these people, but I really wasn't like freaked out. Like I was excited, but like I knew exactly what I was saying to them. Like it wasn't like when I met Sean 3 years ago when I was like so like in shock I couldn't say anything. Like I was chill, like I was super excited, but I still like knew what I was saying. I wasn't like scared of them, if that makes sense. So that was pretty much my experience meeting Why Don't We. But after I met them, we went and got merch. So I got the blue and purple long sleeve. It just says Why Don't We on the front, and then on the sleeve it just has like the Why Don't We 5 cross logo thing. I don't know what it's called. And then I also got the yellow and pink short sleeve. It has all the dates on the back, which is super cute. And it also has like the logo thing on the sleeve as well. And look, it says St. Louis. Do you see that? St. Louis, Missouri. I waited so long for this. So then after we got our merch, we got some food and stuff because I was not going to be able to make it throughout the rest of the show without something to drink and eat. But then after that, the doors finally opened, so we got to go into our seats, and I literally walked up straight to the stage. Like I knew I was front row, but I didn't know if there was like a gap or like a barricade between front row and the stage. Like I was front row for Shawn Mendes a few weeks ago, and there was like a barricade, then a giant gap, and then he was like way further back in the stage. But for Why Don't We, literally I was touching the stage, and if I put my arms straight out, I probably could have touched their shoes at some point. But then also once I got to my seats, I met a bunch of subscribers, which was really awesome. I'll insert some of the pictures. They were the absolute sweetest. I loved meeting them. If we met and I didn't have your picture, definitely tweet me it or like send it to me on Instagram because I definitely want the pictures. But then after that, Eben finally came out and he was so good live. I had listened to his songs all summer and hearing them live was so awesome. And then after Eben's set, I realized I have to pee. And I didn't know how long I had until Why Don't We came out. I figured I'd rather miss maybe like the first part of Trust Fund Baby than miss a whole entire song or two in between the show if I really had to pee. So I had to leave front row and I had to go all the way through the whole entire floor to the back, and then I had to go down the staircase, and the security guard yelled at me and made me walk back up the staircase, and I thought she was gonna yell at me for running, but she yelled at me because I went down the left side of the staircase and I have to go down the right side because it's like driving a car. I finally made it to the bathroom. I like sprinted in there, peed as fast as I could, washed my hands, ran out, and on my way back up the stairs, I heard screaming. And I was like, I'm going to miss the introduction. So I take off. So I'm running, and then there's these people walking down the aisles, and it's just moms, and they're walking super slow. So I'm just yelling, excuse me, I'm weaving in and out of them, and I make it to my seat in time. But then Why Don't We comes out, and they did the first two songs like back on their little like stand things. For Choose, freaking Corbin Bessson walks straight in front of me, and I just have such good video of him. Like he's literally so gorgeous. But let me just talk about the eye contact, okay? So like Daniel, Corbin, and Jack looked at me a couple of times, Jonah a little bit more, but Zach and I had so much eye contact. Why don't we forget about all the drama? Like I literally have a thread on Twitter called Zach Heron Loves Me. It's not even all the videos. It's literally like half of them of just him looking at me. It was so weird because it's not even like he would look at me when he was right in front of me. He'd be on like the opposite side of the stage from where my seats were and he would still be looking at me. And like my friend that I went with even said so many times I wasn't even looking at him, but he would be looking at me. And I was so excited to hear Cold in LA live. It's definitely my top favorite song now. Me and Zach had so much interaction during Cold in LA. At one point he was standing right in front of me and I was singing and he looked down at me and he just smiled. Like that even happened a couple of times. And then during Zach's solo at the end, all 5 of them were standing right in front of me. And it's like the best picture and video that I got. And Jack and Jonah looked at me for like a few seconds during that part. But Zach literally looked at me and sang to me for a couple of seconds. You can like hear my laugh in the video and you can like hear him laugh and you can see Jonah laugh too. Yeah, just stare face to face. Why don't you just stay with me? It was just so weird. Like when I knew I was gonna be front row, I was expecting eye contact, but literally not that much interaction. It was so cool. And then another cool thing that happened when they were on stage. So for every show, before they do talk, they just like talk to the audience for a little bit. And Jonah was saying like, oh, it's our first time ever in St. Louis. I've been getting tweets for years saying come to St. Louis. And you can hear me in the video. I was like, that was me. Like, you're welcome.
It's funny, because like for the last, I think, couple of years, I've been getting a lot of tweets that are like, come to St. Louis.
Yes.
And then he even says that some girls in the meet and greet thank them for coming to St. Louis.
Some girls that we met in the meet and greet today who were like, you finally came.
And obviously I know I'm not the only one who's been waiting for them to come to St. Louis. I know I'm not the only one who thanked them for coming to St. Louis, but I was one of the girls. So he literally was talking about me. So then another thing I wanted to comment about was how good the freaking visuals and dance moves were for their set. Everything in the show was just so put together. You can tell how much work they put into that, from like the visuals to the dance moves. Like to get all 5 of them in sync must have took a lot of work. And it was just all around like an awesome show, an amazing experience. I'm so grateful I got to experience it in my hometown the first time, front row, meet and greet. Literally, I could not have asked for any better. But I think that's all I had to talk about. If I forgot anything, I'll definitely talk about it on my Twitter and my Instagram, so definitely follow me. I'll link those down below. But I'm also really sad to end this video because it's my last concert video. I had 2 Sean concerts and a Why Don't We concert, and I vlogged every one. I did an experience video for each one. Every concert was completely amazing in its own way, and I'm just really sad it's over, but I just know this is not my last time seeing Why Don't We. Literally, whenever they announce their next tour, if they don't come to St. Louis, I will be at the closest show. If they go to anywhere in the Midwest, I will be there. But that is all I have for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, give it a big thumbs up, leave a comment below, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next week with a brand new video. Bye guys!